Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bairavee The Sky Priestess. And today we are going to be talking about a magical window for manifestation over the next couple of days. I referenced this briefly in my previous video, and as promised, here is an analysis on what is coming up and what it can empower you to create at this time. Now, you know me, I'm not a big fan of the way in which the law of attraction and manifestation is usually, used to give people a rather skewed sense of their relationship with spirituality. And whilst there is great truth in those concepts, they are often used to give people a perspective of if you think about something in a certain way, it is definitely going to happen. That's just not the case. Sometimes things don't manifest because there may be even deeper blockages you're not able to see. Sometimes things don't manifest because it's not the right time or it may not actually be the best thing for you. So, whilst there is truth to those ideas, they are often misrepresented. So, when I, of all people, say that there is a time for manifestation magic, you can take that to the bank. That is absolutely legit. And so we're going to go through the list of the key alignments which make me call this time a time for manifestation magic. And then we're going to talk about what that means. So let us begin. This is going to be astrology heavy because astrology is a useful tool. It's not the end all be all of spirituality, but it is an incredibly useful tool when you know how to work with it. So let's get started. Now, May the 13th, we see the Sun conjunct Uranus. That's a big one. That's at 23 degrees of Taurus. The same day, we see Venus at 17 degrees of Taurus, sextiling Saturn at 17 Pisces. With the Sun conjunct Uranus, we have the opportunity to really expand our awareness and expand our consciousness, especially in the way we think about groups, we think about associations, we think about technology, and the ways in which we try to find aligned methods of generating abundance. Now, whilst there is an absolute space for grace for helping those who are in desperate situations, and Lord knows I have been in those shoes as well, this is a time where we need to be looking at sustainable methods of generating abundance, not just for ourselves, but also for the communities that we are a part of, whether it's a physical community or a virtual community. If at this point someone is still clinging on to you as, their battery, that is not a relationship that you necessarily want to continue having or to have in the same way, especially going forwards. So this is a time of key adjustments. Now, some of you may see this energy as a windfall. You may see this as something that creates and generates buckets and buckets and buckets of opportunities for you. You may not know what to do with all of the surplus that comes your way, but that is not true for everyone because some people are standing in their own way when it comes to abundance. They may be having, deeply rooted beliefs around worthiness, deeply rooted beliefs about how to make money. Is money a good or a bad thing? And that in itself can cause an obstacle of allowing the flow of energy of manifestation at this time. So you really got to look at the situation, the context, and the person. And for people who are happily building in directions that are not aligned with their soul, this is where they're going to get a kick in the pants and a very, very sharp wake up call. Now, we have already met this energy in late April when Jupiter was conjunct Uranus, and I did a video on that as well, talking about how it was aspecting Taurus and Black Moon Lilith. The same energy still applies. The same lessons still applies. We are called to embody, to put our best foot forward, and to build together in ways that are cognizant of the back doors. We should not be building systems that we need to recover from. We should not be trying to create lives that we have to escape from ever so often just to make it workable. This is a time to be really reimagining what it means to be an embodied human on this planet at this stage of near environmental collapse. What does it mean to create a sustainable income? What does it mean to be in alignment with a community and a particular set of values? These are the kinds of questions that should be informing your soul searching work at this time. And for those of you who are in the flow, right place, right time, it can feel like a very charmed moment. May the 13th, watch out for this. And just as a heads up, May the 18th, we see Venus reinforcing this conjunction. At that point, Venus at 23 degrees of Taurus, conjunct Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus. It is very important to be looking at the role of how you engage with feminine consciousness in what you create, whatever you build, with whom you build at this time. Sisters or very significant feminine persons in your life can play a very important role in creating that network and creating whatever community and whatever it is you're building together at this time. But you got to understand that not everything that comes in the name of sisterhood, not everything that comes in the name of service, not everything that comes in the name of nurture is necessarily good. Remember that Taurus and Black Moon Lilith are in Virgo, and they are aspecting all of these energies. So you have to continue the work of discernment. You have to continue asking the hard questions. It is just not acceptable to be taking things at face value at this time. So May the 13th, we start off very, very strong with the Sun conjunct Uranus, with Venus sextiling Saturn on the same day. Now remember, at the very start of the year, I had a lot of high hopes for this year, and I still do, because this is a year in which faith, the size of a mustard seed, can move a mountain. And one of the reasons why this year is so powerful is because of multiple sextiles between Taurus and Pisces, or bodies in Taurus and Pisces. And we will be seeing the same energy of these sextiles coming up again and again and again, especially in this concentrated window of magical manifestation. I also see Greg here. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. And of course, community members, feel free to say hi. If I can say hi as part of the flow, I definitely will. Moving along to May the 14th, we see Jupiter 27 Taurus in conjunct the galactic center 27 Sagittarius. Long story short, in conjuncts are often uncomfortable aspects. They make you rethink things in ways that can kind of feel very edgy. It can kind of feel very irritating. It can kind of feel like, oh, do I have to do this? But when you actually allow the energies to work together, they can lead you to very new spaces. So when you think about our relationship with abundance, our relationship with materiality and security, you got to understand that our material manifestation of life has a very profound influence upon our spiritual understanding and the belief systems that underpin our spiritual path. When someone has been born in comfort and privilege, they're going to assume that everything works for them because they're great. But that's not necessarily the case. That's a product of their own contracts, and that's a product of their own karma, and it's also a product of the backdoors they are not looking at by occupying a space of privilege at the expense of everybody else. So materiality and your relationship with it has a profound, profound input upon the way you understand spirit. And the way, and for people who have been dispossessed, disenfranchised, who have not been allowed any access to safety, security, and abundance, that's when they got nothing else to do but pray. They just go, hey, you know what? I either completely surrender to spirit, or I am going to be forced in a situation where I'm always going to have the begging bowl in my hand. Not to say that's not a bad path. For some people, that is the path. But one has to look at, again, the relationship between their material life and the relationship between deeply held spiritual beliefs. And the Jupiter Galactic Center in conjunct, it is possible to change your relationship with what you manifest, with what you see, by looking at your belief system first, which is something that anyone with any sense has said consistently about this whole topic. But especially May the 14th, this can come up big time. And if you are not seeing the results that you want, consider changing your teacher. Consider changing your approach. Consider changing your belief system, because that might make a huge difference. And remember, what you experience as a material being has a lot to do with the way your mind thinks about spirit. That is something that needs to be underlined. I'm just going to take a quick question from the Quiet Storm, who asks, hello Sky, would you recommend going out on the 13th? It really depends on y'all, on your journey with Taurus. Now, Taurus can also deal with the cervical collar, cervical collar. It can also deal with the neck. It can deal with the thyroid. It can deal with different hormones in the body. If your body is feeling good and it feels like it can work with the energy, go ahead. Dance all night. Have, go out there, have fun, have nice food and drink within moderation, and have a great time. But if your body feels like it's overwhelmed, and you feel like, you're just feeling out of whack, then probably not a good day to go out. It really depends on you. No generalizations when it comes to Uranus. The only thing you can say is it will wake you up. It does not have to be nice about it, but it will wake you up one way or another. Moving along, May the 15th, we see the manifestation train continue. This time with Mercury entering Taurus, which is going to give us about 20 odd days or so of allowing us to work more so with our voice, our will, and the way in which we consolidate our beliefs and ideas into the written or spoken word. So it is about really taking the belief that we have about manifestation and making it more concrete and saying it to people. It's also a great transit for singers, for anyone who uses their voice to facilitate, and also, generally speaking, for people who center communication as a key part of their spiritual work in the world. Use the voice. Very, very important. May 15th also sees Venus at 19 degrees of Taurus, trine Taurus at 19 degrees of Virgo. Again, be aware of the back door. Do not manifest from la-di-da land wearing rose-tinted glasses. It will come to bite you in the ass. So always make sure you do your due diligence. Look at the fine print. Look at the energy of the person or people with whom you want to work. Don't fall for the rhetoric. Rhetoric is pretty. That's why it is a spell. Look at the energy first. And the same applies in relationships too. So look at what comes your way and really aim to see through the bullshit. May the 16th, we see Venus at 21 Taurus, trining Ceres at 21 Capricorn. We also see Chiron squaring Ceres on the same day. So it's a big day for Ceres. Ceres is Mother Nurturer, also Mother's Mother. You know me, I don't romanticize anything. Ceres can give you tools. Ceres can hold you and help you grow. Ceres can nurture you. Ceres can also manipulate in the name of nurture. That's why we get the smothering mother. That's why we get the mother that goes, I sacrificed. I gave up my life for you. You are now my property. That can also come. So whether it's in terms of relationships, whether it's in terms of your relationship with healing, look at what mother wound dynamics come up at this time. And that will also give you a key clue as to who is really on your side in what you are building and creating, and what gilded cages do you need to let go of so that you can actually create in alignment. Shout out to my brother, because we were having this conversation in a different way and he used the phrase gilded cage, which is precisely some of the back doors, a great summary of the back doors that can come. Not everything that promises abundance is necessarily on your side. So again, diligence and discernment. May the 17th, we see the sun doing the same thing with the galactic center. And again, it is a time to shift perspective, especially if you are not seeing the results that you want. Find teachers who can help you get into the roots of your belief if you are unable to see why, despite your best efforts, you are still not able to get the results that you desire. So look to the mind if you are not seeing the change that you want to see into the 3D. That is what this particular alignment can teach you. We also see Jupiter trine Hylanome. Hylanome is effectively a being who was so in love with her partner that her partner runs into a spear and dies. And she jumps on the spear to commit suicide because she can't handle the thought of being without him. This can very strongly indicate grief, feelings of loss, abandonment, and whilst not always the same thing, also patterns of codependency that can come up very strongly. With Jupiter aspecting Hylanome, it is very, very, very important to look at whether or not your decisions are being motivated by the pain of loss from the past. Whether it's this life, past life, doesn't matter. If you're trying to build something to create a sense of security you didn't have, whilst it is very, very important to find security for yourself, find it from a space of self-love rather than the fear of experiencing that loss again. That is a very different type of manifestation. When you manifest from fear, you will create backdoors that invite more fear. When you manifest from love, you will find a completely different expression of the same action. And that is one of the key lessons that comes from this. Jupiter is also aspecting Silanunam, which is a body that is associated with intimate abuse. So if you are also recovering from that kind of lesson in your life, again, the trigger, the trauma, the fear, the memory itself can lead you into paths that are less than ideal. You know, when I talk about manifestation, I also talk about the back doors and the pitfalls. I'm not going to tell you it's a great time to do what you want. I'm going to tell you it is a time to look within so you can absolutely find what it is your soul truly wants. And is it aligned with fear or is it aligned with faith? That is going to be a key defining lesson for all of us in the next few years. May the 18th, we see, as I've said before, Venus at 23 Taurus conjunct Uranus, same lesson as before. The Sun at 28 Taurus conjunct Jupiter, activating aspects to Hylanome and Silanunam. Once again, it's about building and creating with the right people and from the right space. That, in a sense, is a summary of all of these lessons. May the 20th, we see Venus at 25 Taurus, trine Black Moon Lilith at 25 Virgo. Whatever you create, make sure that there is a space for those who have been truly victimized. And know that there are some people who enjoy wearing the mantle of victimhood so that they can hit you on the head with that stick of, I'm a victim, I get what I want. Whilst there is an absolute space for healing for those who truly need help, who have been systemically oppressed, There is also a space where you need to realize where someone is basically taking the mick. Whatever you build, create a space for those who have less access to resources, but also hold your ground where needed. Otherwise, you will be taken for granted. Now, May the 21st, we see Venus then in conjunct the galactic center. Another thing about aligning your belief system to see what you actually want. Just because if your belief systems block you from what manifestation is actually about, you are shooting yourself in the foot. And at the same time, if your belief systems give you an unrealistic perception of what manifestation is about, again, shooting yourself in the foot. So look at your belief system if you're not seeing the results that you want. And again, this is a great time to find teachers, teachings, perspectives to help you align yourself truly. But you need to go to people you trust because there's a much larger alignment behind all of this in my book, which is Taurus oppositenesses. In the name of facilitation and service, a lot can go wrong. So you got to be very, very, very careful with whom you open your energy to at this time. We also see on May the 22nd, Venus trine Hylanome, which is again, do not build from that place of agonizing loss and grief. Process your grief. Don't make it the base of your identity. As someone who's had to do that myself, I can speak. On the same day, May the 22nd, we see the Sun by this point in Gemini, trining Pluto to Aquarius. Using your voice, looking at new ideas, looking at new perspectives can help you find things that will help you manifest in alignment with the collective. But again, especially with the energy of Gemini, you got to be looking at the layers. You got to be looking at the flip side of the argument. You got to be looking at what is not being said, whose voice is not being heard, and whether or not looking at all sides actually blinds you to the truth of what perspective really requires the most attention and justice. It is all about managing the mind and finding the right level of focus to create what can be created with community. May the 23rd. Now, May the 23rd is my favorite day for this because we see both Venus and Jupiter at 29 Taurus, sextile Neptune at 29 Pisces. It is one of the most powerful days for manifestation in this whole year because it can bridge heaven and earth. It can bridge spirit and matter, and it will only make that bridge when you come at it 100% with faith, with clarity, with conviction. This is a time where you can make miracles happen, but you must give it your absolute all, which means looking at everything you don't want to look at and everything you're afraid to look at. When you come at things from a place of total awareness, your relationship with it changes completely. And that is why those rose-tinted glasses, pick them up, smash them, kick them to the curb, and keep moving on because we have no more tolerance for untruths and for romanticizations in the here and now. On the same day, we will see, of course, the full moon at 2 degrees of Sagittarius once again highlighting the role of the teacher, the role of perspective in helping you navigate a path to truth. And this cannot be understated. The people who show you the way have a great role in taking you to a particular destination. And if your teacher or teaching is blocked in seeing what it is that you can accomplish, it is time to move along. And if your teacher is someone who can take you where you need to be, then fantastic. Keep journeying with them. And if you are a teacher, know to let go of students when they have finished their journey with you and open your doors to people who can benefit from your teachings as long as your time is honored as well. And honestly speaking, this manifestation window lasts until May the 25th, because May the 25th, we will see Venus at 1 degrees of Gemini, trining Pluto at 1 degrees of Aquarius. This is, again, a great opportunity for new ideas, connections, and collaborations. Jupiter will enter Gemini on May the 25th, and Taurus stations direct, ending its retrograde at 19 Virgo. But the reason I say May the 13th to May the 23rd is because the 23rd is really the high point of the sextile. But really, it's also till the 25th. And for people who want to work with me, this is a time where I would recommend booking the Change Maker session, because that is a session where I kick your butt, especially if you are blinding yourself to what needs to be seen. I have also created a new session called Speaking with the Sky Priestess. Again, shout out to my brother because he came up with a catchy title, where it is more for people who need to be heard rather than me telling you what I see in the skies or through my psychic sight. So that's the option as well. So if you are called to drawn to working with me at this time and you just want the direct guidance, choose the Change Maker session. And if you want to be heard, choose the Speaking with the Sky Priestess session. So that's what I got to say with respect to all of this. And I'm going to have a quick look at comments before signing off. I see Wichita has written a few things. I am glad things resonate. I am glad that things resonate for you. Just a quick note to the last comment. I've extended bridges to 3 people last week in kindness. That's great, but if you are the one who's constantly extending and is constantly being expected to extend, it's not in alignment. There is greater spirit to take care of everybody. There are very few people on this earth that I would say, no, you got to keep at it. And those are people who are literally in states of genocide, like the Palestinians. So, unless it's something like that, no, you do not need to bend over backwards. Everyone concerned is, generally speaking, in a situation like this, an adult who can take care of themselves or who can be directed to social services and programs who can help. This is not the time to be carrying anyone at all. It is a time to be directing people to resources that can help them. Kindness is key only where there is justice and fairness to everyone concerned. If one person is always expected to foot the bill or to carry the burden, that is not kind, that is abuse. Write that down for people who need to hear it. And that certainly has been true of me in the past as well. So, having said that, my take on manifestation, my take on this very magical window, there are lessons to be learned, there is creation to be engaged with, and there is a lot of goodness, of abundance, and of sustainable joy that can be held by people who are willing to do the work and people who are willing to ask the hard questions. And again, if you want to work with me, the Change Maker session is generally the way to go. So take care. Very many blessings. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye bye.